WCBI News at 10 starts now.
A 20-year-old man will spend the next 20 years in prison. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Scott Martin. Corey Wayne Dean pleaded guilty to manslaughter today in Lamar County, Alabama. You may remember back in March of 2017, Dean, along with two others, escaped from the Marion County Jail. Dean was in jail on charges of burglary, criminal mischief, arson, and discharging of a firearm into an unoccupied dwelling at the time of his escape. Running from police, Dean was involved in a crash, killing the passenger of another vehicle near Soligent. A Tupelo car theft suspect crashes in Holly Springs after attacking the owner. Now Coleman Vassar III is charged with felony auto theft. Tupelo police say Vassar took a Ford Mustang from South Easton Boulevard on Sunday afternoon. The owner of the car was assaulted there. Investigators say shortly before the incident, Vassar fled from the North Mississippi State Hospital. Holly Springs PD picked up Vassar after the accident. There, his bond is set at $50,000. A hit-and-run investigation in Starkville is now turned over to youth court for further action. The incident happened this past Friday on Yellow Jacket Drive on the Starkville High campus. A 16-year-old student was struck. At the time, SPD told WCBI that the officers were searching for a silver Saturn SUV. Starkville police say a juvenile was driving that vehicle. The victim has been released from the hospital. Names are not being released since the possible suspect is a minor. Well, time now to toss things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. He's standing by with a first look at our forecast. Keith, a little rainy in some areas today.
Yeah, Scott, you know what? We have seen some showers and thunder showers around here today. Right now, fairly quiet, although some rain trying to build back in. We are in the 70s, a mild and muggy night out there. Pockets of rain out towards Louisville, southwest of you, and Winston County, also back to the northwest, too, out towards Water Valley. So we do have some rain out there. We have a front coming on in. This will tend to fill in a little bit more as we go throughout the overnight hours into tomorrow morning. Notice that we are looking at a pretty decent chance for some showers and storms around the region for our Wednesday. We start out in the low 70s, and many spots will only top out in the 70s. We'll be back with your full forecast in just a few minutes.
Well, today is National Voter Registration Day, and we're just 2 weeks away from the deadline to register if you want to vote in the November election. Courtney Ann Jackson explains why you may need to do some double checking before Election Day.
Jackson State students are spreading the word with just more than a month till the election.
Whenever you get the chance to vote, regardless of what it is, you need to make sure, because these are people that are going to, affect you and make changes for you.
This wasn't an isolated get out the vote effort. All 8 public universities hosted similar events on campus Tuesday.
I was like, well, I'm registered back home, but back home is in Illinois. So does my vote, but my vote needs to count here because I'm here for 4 years. So why not register to vote where I'm living at? And so I was surprised by the amount of students that also thought the same way as me.
There's a key step these students are ready to take.
Turning in their forms and making sure they're filled out completely.
While that may seem like common sense, it's something that often gets forgotten. Taking the time to verify your registration is an important follow-up step.
We don't want a problem stack.
If the form is incomplete or somehow doesn't get turned in, you may not realize it until it's too late.
But that's a problem. And when they go to the precinct to vote, their name is not on the poll books. So we starting early. We want people to update and verify their registration.
If you don't want that to be you, go to y'allvote.sos.ms.gov. There, you'll find a voter registration section with the question, are you registered to vote? It will ask for the county you're registered in, your name, last 4 digits of your social security number, and birth date. With that info, you'll learn whether your registration was successful.
Some handy tips there for sure. Well, it's just been over a week since Nora Miller was selected as the new president of the Mississippi University for Women. Tonight, she sits down with our Quentin Smith, who joins us live with her plans and vision for the W. Hey, Quentin.
Yes, Scott, when it came to selecting a candidate, it was made clear the university wanted someone who's a proven leader and knows the school. Miller was the unanimous choice for the position, and now she's ready to take the reins and continue moving the university forward. Mississippi University for Women has seen a lot of changes over the last several years, but one thing that has always remained the same is the warm smile, dedication, and commitment to excellence from Nora Miller.
I am what you see. I'm pretty candid with people. I love Columbus. I love the community. I love family.
But there's also one other thing Miller loves, that is, being the newly appointed president at MUW.
It's just really exciting to think that I came here as a student many years ago and never would have dreamed that I would work here, much less be president.
Miller was first introduced to MUW as a student, and she'll tell you, early on, it definitely was not her intent to enroll at the university.
I had never heard of the W, actually. I grew up in St. Louis and came home from high school one day, and there was an envelope, and I didn't know anything about it, and I just kind of I threw it out.
But after some strong persuasion from her parents, Miller finally gave in. She took a trip down south to visit campus, and it's safe to say the university has had a hold on her ever since. For nearly 2 decades, Miller has worked at the university. She served as the senior vice president and chief financial officer. Now that she's the school's top leader, the new president says she has 3 things she wants to focus on to help push the W forward. The first one is adaptability.
And that's adapting our programs to what businesses and what employers are looking for, adapting our teaching models and our approach to meet students wherever they are in their preparation.
She also wants to focus on positivity.
We can say, oh, the sky's falling, state support's dwindling, but no, we need to look at that as an opportunity for us to be more self-reliant. We need to look at positive things and look for the positive outcome.
And lastly, she wants to focus on responsibility.
We need to be responsible for our own future, and we need to give our students the tools that they need, but they have to be responsible for their own academic success, but we need to make it possible for them.
Now, with this selection, Miller becomes the 13th person to serve as president at MUW. She'll be replacing Dr. Jim Borsick, who announced his retirement earlier this year.
76 in the city of Columbus. It is a very humid night out there. Fairly steady temperatures for the next 24 hours in Columbus. Many other places we see in the 70s. More rain on the way. The latest is coming up next. Stay tuned.
Your first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Let's start out with some time lapses here from Columbus, Tupelo, Vernon, and Durham's Pharmacy, downtown Louisville, Mississippi. You can see some passing clouds, some showers and thunder showers roaming around here today. Some sunshine as well. We topped out in the 80s, and then some of us saw some nice downpours, and some of us got a decent sunset too. So that's the way it was earlier today. Let's check out and see what's happening right now. We have a couple of budding showers and thunder showers southwest of Pontotoc right there. A little bit of a lightning strike and some heavier downpours out towards Coffeyville, Water Valley. This activity continues to blossom around here. This will probably fill in as we go throughout the rest of tonight into tomorrow morning. Out ahead of that front right there, that is coming our way. So we do suspect a pretty decent chance for some coverage here of some showers and storms tomorrow morning for the commute through the morning into the early afternoon. Probably the heaviest rain shifting southeast of our area during the early to mid-afternoon hours on Thursday. Lingering showers behind it. And also for our Thursday, still an opportunity for a little bit of rain here. Extensive cloud cover. A cool day tomorrow relative to where we have been. And also for Thursday, mainly 70s versus the 80s, no 90s here. And anywhere between a ½ inch to maybe 1 to 2 inches of rain over the next 2 days, most of which will probably come tomorrow. So it could be a wet Wednesday for us. We'll see how it all plays out. We're in the 70s now, still 80 in Memphis, 78 in Birmingham. If you want the fall weather, look at that, 40s and 50s to our northwest. It's not really going to get here though. That's the bad news here. Eventually it will. Right now, this front is just not that powerful. 72 degrees for tonight, so low 70s in most spots. Scattered rain showers and some thunder showers out there. Some brief downpours for you Wednesday. 78 degrees is an average. Areas of rain and storms. The rain chance is 80% here, so a pretty good chance for rain at some point on our Wednesday. Mid 70s in the north, some upper 70s to low 80s in the south here. Winds from the south switching to the northwest behind the front at about 5 to 10. For you over in the west Alabama, also upper 70s, maybe a shot at 80. Better opportunities for some 80s down to our south, but a pretty good opportunity for some rain and some storms around here across the Twin States on Wednesday. That front hangs up a little bit. Still some rain chances there on Thursday. This model clears us out on Friday. I don't think that will probably happen. I still think there's going to be a chance for a little bit of rain here later this week. We don't really get a nice little taste of fall, unfortunately. As you can see, we're back into the 80s this weekend, into next week as well, with a few more scattered storms.
Well, don't let fall fool you. It's not all pumpkin spicy goodness. I wonder who put that in there. Well, serious allergens are in the air. We'll take a look when we come back. Welcome back, everyone. Watery eyes, scratchy throats, and a runny nose can start to appear as the days grow shorter and the leaves begin to change. Allergies no longer belong to just one season. Victoria Bailey tells us how they can also take the fun out of the fall.
The arrival of fall usually gets folks in the mood for pumpkins, football, and autumn leaves. But dermatologist and allergy expert Dr. Philip Hooker says you can't forget about allergies.
In the fall, the weeds kick in. And so the ragweed is the most prevalent one around here that gives the most trouble. And it starts up in August. It's going real strong right now in September, and it'll be into October and even November until we get a good frost. It'll be bothering patients. So they'll be having the typical symptoms of hay fever.
Studies show seasonal allergies, including fall allergies, affect more than 35 million Americans. Keith Bordley says although he loves seeing the leaves change, he almost hates seeing this season roll in.
My sinuses kick up really bad. I just get congested on a daily basis. This time of year, with the season changing, it is horrible for allergies. The sneezing, even though spring is known for the pollen, the fall, it still kicks up again.
Hooker says this time of year can be tricky trying to figure out if you are experiencing a sinus issue or you have something else.
It can make you feel like you have a cold, but the difference is with a cold, you're going to have fever. So check your temp. If you don't have fever, you probably are dealing, with allergy. And then also the cold's going to last 4 or 5 days to be gone. The allergy in the fall can last for weeks or even sometimes for a month or two.
Along with taking allergy medication, Hooker says staying away from pollen is a huge combatant.
Stay inside as much as you can. If you have windows, don't open them. Because if you open those windows, you're going to let the pollen in. And so people tend to let the windows be opened, when the weather is nice and the air is cool in the fall, but actually you're letting all the pollen in. So keep them closed, keep the air conditioner running, and just try to stay inside as much as possible.
Dr. Hooker goes on to say if you choose to take an allergy medication, it's best to do so at night. One of those side effects with most allergy medications is drowsiness. Well, happening tomorrow, WCBI's Healthy Living for Seniors Expo. It'll be from 10 to 1 at Lee Mall right here in Columbus. You'll get to visit with all kinds of professionals to get advice on everything from pre-planning, finances, home care, health care, and much more. We'll be live from the expo on WCBI's Mid-Morning with Andrea at 9 and on midday. Our game of the week decided a division a year ago. Will it do the same in 2018? Find out where we'll be live on Friday, coming up next in sports.
Your WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb.
Our game of the week for week 7 was one that decided a division back in 2017. Both of these teams have started strong in 2018, and Region 4 3A could very well come down to this very game. Our game of the week for Week 7 is going to take us over to Houston. Choctaw County will be traveling to take on the Toppers this week. Region 4 3A came down to these two teams separated by just one game and just 1 point. The Chargers defeating Houston 13-12 last year. The Toppers enter 4-1, rolling on a 4-game win streak, and Choctaw County enters 4-2 with a win over Ray Brooks this past Friday. We'll be live from Houston High School at both 5 and 6 come Friday, so make sure you're tuned in to check out all of the madness that will be ensuing from there. But we have plenty of more big games going on all throughout the area. Just to name a couple, we've got some for you here for Week 7. Starkville going to be making the trek over to Northwest Rankin for that game. Starkville, we've seen so many good things coming from them this season. Last week, an absolutely dominating performance from the Yellow Jackets, so still always a team to keep its eye out open for. Eupora is going to be taking on East Webster. Another game that we should expect to see some really cool and just interesting things. Each week I keep saying gets better and better, and these teams are the ones that are making me think that Amory going to be taking Itawamba AHS. Both of these teams showing up in big ways this season. This game, if you can't watch any of the others, this is one I would personally say keep your eyes peeled for. And then Pickens County going to be at Aliceville for Friday. Like I said, hard to pick between all of these. We did end up picking one that wasn't any of these, but still all great games that you're going to want to tune in. We'll have those highlights coming up for you on End Zone at 10 and 11. The most anticipated week for the Mississippi State Bulldogs has finally arrived. Yes, we're officially in Florida week. In the wake of the return of Dan Mullen, one thing is going to be for sure. Saturday's game will be nothing short of tensions running high and complete craziness to follow along with it. The Bulldogs currently preparing themselves for all of the madness they know is about to ensue coming up this weekend.
I mean, for me, it's just, you got to take it like it's another game. It's the next game. It's the most important game because it's the next game. I mean, that's my focus. That's my approach. I know that there'll be some emotional things that you really won't feel until probably Friday or Saturday. But again, we lacked focus and discipline last week, so obviously that's going to be a big focus for us as a coaching staff to make sure that we get these guys dialed in the whole week.
We're playing Florida. It's not about the emotions. It's not about who's coaching. It's about who's going to be the 11 people that are on that field, and our 11 going out there and being better than their 11. There's going to be motivation, I'm sure, for some guys, but to me, it's a big, home game that against an SEC opponent that we need to win. That's about it.
I'm sure there's a lot of emotion, but we just try not to show it, and it's just another big game. That's one thing I learned from Coach Mullin playing the SEC. You play a big game one week, you even have another big game the next week.
The Rebels get ready to hit the road for the first time since week 1. It's going to be a tough match up against the LSU Tigers. Hear from one of the coaches and players on what's to be expected.
Well, normally we'll travel on Friday, and sometimes on Friday we may go watch a movie on Friday, and Saturday morning we'll wake up, we'll have position meetings, offense and defensive meetings, we'll have walkthroughs, and then we'll always have a couple hours that we'll leave to them where they can go back, take a nap and things like that. So we have meetings and walkthroughs built in during the day just to keep them occupied and to keep their mind on football and their assignments.
I was a little nervous, but he came in and handled his business. So after that, we was ready to go. We believed in him. And after that first drive, he settled down and did what he did. So yeah, of course, we're going against LSU, and that's a great team. So backup comes in, his head's probably spinning.
Just pack an umbrella tomorrow morning for the commute. You will probably need it at some point tomorrow.
And don't forget, 10 to 1, the Healthy Living Expo. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.